Hey everyone, Mr. Technodad here. Have you guys been watching any of these Star Wars TV shows? They all seem to start like this. Now when I see an opening like that, it lets me know exactly what I'm about to see. I'm about to see a show about helmets. If you've seen The Mandalorian, you know what I'm talking about. This new show, Ahsoka, is no exception. Let's talk about the show, learn about the different species, and while we're at it, we'll make a tier list of the characters. Roxanne Dawson plays B'Elanna Torres, a human-Klingon hybrid, who leaves the Maquis in order to join Starfleet and... no, wait, that's wrong. Rosario Dawson plays Ahsoka Tano. These are two completely different kinds of rubber foreheads. I don't know how I got that confused. Ahsoka is a togruta, a humanoid species that comes in different colors with three distinctive striped appendages growing out of their heads called head tails or leku instead of hair. Other famous togruta from the Star Wars universe include... I got nothing. After extensive Googling, I came up with Jedi Master Shakti from the cartoons and the Lego. So apparently the backstory is some guy named Grand Admiral Thrawn got yeeted to another galaxy in like a cartoon or something, I don't know. Grand Admiral Thrawn is the guy that all of my nerd friends have been saying they should totally make a Star Wars about since like 1991 or something. After Thrawn and some guy named Ezra ended up in this other galaxy, someone there somehow made a map of where they were, and then somehow they put the map like into a golden snitch, and then somehow the golden snitch made it back to the regular galaxy. Don't think about it too hard. Let's just say somehow the map returned. So Ahsoka is flying around the galaxy with her robot looking for this map. Her robot is played by David Tennant. That's right, the David Tennant they got for this show with the riz, the hair, the whole package. And what do? They make him a robot. So no hair. Biggest travesty since I don't want to go. The robot has an actual name in this show, rather than a serial number or a QR code like most Star Wars robots have. His name is Hu Yang, which is the Filipino word for flawed or weak. Speaking of names, let's talk about Ahsoka. There's a phrase in Japanese, "Aso desu ka?" which is Japanese for, is that so? It comes in several shorter, less formal versions, like so desu ka, or soka, or Ahsoka. There's a lot of Japanese stuff in this show, starting with the main character's name, which is Japanese for, oh really? You know this famous image from One Punch Man? Lord Boros is all, the armor that I used to seal in my blah 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 broken, and Saitama gives him a lackluster, okay. In Japanese, what he says is, soka. So Flawed and O'Reilly complete their fetch quest for the map, but Ahsoka can't open it because she doesn't have the Wi-Fi password. To solve this problem, she goes to meet with someone named Hera Syndulla, played by Amelia Earhart. Impressively, Hera has risen to the rank of general in the New Republic despite, I guess, looks like she's about 19 years old, and despite always wearing goggles in case she has to fly a spaceship with an open cockpit through an area of space where there's a lot of wind getting in her eyes. Hera Syndulla is not a Tortuga, she's a Twi'lek, a completely different humanoid species that comes in different colors with two distinctive striped appendages that grow out of their head called head tails or leku instead of hair. Notable Twi'leks include Bib Fortuna, Senator Orn Free Ta in the prequels, Garza Fwip, owner of the Sanctuary Bar in Mos Espa, you forgot about her, didn't you? And most importantly, Jedi Knight Aayla Secura, who's in the prequels fighting on Geonosis and Felucia, and who totally deserves her own show and doesn't have one. Hera Syndulla tells Ahsoka that if she wants to get at the data in the map without buying a license to win RAR, she should go talk to someone named Sabine Wren. The moment Sabine Wren shows up on screen, I sat up in my chair and I started to pay real attention. Finally, here is a character with a really interesting hairstyle. Look at those colors, that volume, so good. At last, it's time to get serious about our tier list. Let's check in. So it's Sabine Wren at tier S, and then we got a bunch of these losers. Sabine takes the map back to her apartment and she gets it opened up, but uh-oh, it turns out the bad guys are also after the MacGuffin. Balin Skull is a dark Jedi played by Paul Hollywood of the Great British Bake Off. This is a great character and a huge source of strength for the show because, come on, just look at this guy's hair. It's perfectly styled without being overdone. His beard is full and perfectly edged, and the whole thing is the ideal shade of gray to denote experience while still making a powerful masculine statement. He immediately goes to the top of the list. And his apprentice, Shin Hati, played by Debbie Harry of Blondie. Really amazing presence. Solid brooding, almost like at a Kylo Ren level. I wrestled a lot with what grade to give her, but ultimately I had to deduct points because of the bangs, and occasionally her look is a bit stringy, but still very promising character, very strong hairstyle. Our tier list says Balin straight to S, Shin A. And then tragedy strikes. Sabine Wren, as a result of a lightsaber battle with Shin Hati, makes the rash decision to cut off most of her hair, adopting a new, much less interesting hairstyle. She immediately plunges 2 ranks. But as I learned from the kids in my son's carpool, this brings her hairstyle more in line with her look in Star Wars Rebels or something. So we all go racing around for more excitement, and we meet a bunch of people along the way. Morgan Elsbeth, the Scarlet Witch. Those fancy braids and stylings put her in the A tier. Dr. Taub, apprentice to Dark Jedi Dr. Gregory House. Mon Mothman. Somehow this character is in every Star Wars going back to 1977, and somehow she has a terrible haircut every single time.
Many Bothans died, huh? Maybe that haircut killed them.
Carson Tebow, played by Uncle Iroh. This guy, unbelievably handsome. Clearly a leading man type. His beautiful hair gets an A. C110P, played by Dave Filoni. Robot tier. This guy who is dressed all Japanese for no reason. Boken Jedi. Somehow they're using what looks like real Japanese boken in the show. They're curved like a katana and not straight like a lightsaber because why? Worse, they're using those cheapo, lightweight, teak, touristy bokens that shatter the first time you try to do kumitachi with someone who brought a real boken and who knows how to move from their hara. This is a real boken. White oak or get broke, literally. You can see where the hands go because it's dark where the hands go because you've been holding it right there for so many years.
You want to hear another story about Aayla Secura? So back in 2007, I would come home from work and there's my boy. He's on the Xbox and he's playing like one of the old Star Wars Battlefront games. And in those games, you could like hardly ever kill the Jedi. So what he would do is he'd get in a big vehicle like an AAT, and then he'd like drive around. And if he saw a Jedi, he'd just like run them down, and he would run them down again and again. And so you'd see like Darth Vader going like, whoa, 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 over the rooftops of Mos Eisley, and he would laugh and laugh. And then we would play together, and I would always play Aayla Secura because she was the only one who could like double wield the lightsabers, which was so cool. And so he would be off doing something, and I would find one of his command posts, and then I would go kill all of his goons, and then I would stand on the command post and I sang a little song. Aayla Secura, taking a command post. Aayla Secura, and it drove him nuts. Or we would run around Naboo or the fungus forests of Felucia or whatever. That was good. These days, Aayla Secura has been demoted to single-wielding lightsabers, and the dual-wielding Jedi of choice is, you guessed it, Ahsoka. I have a little note from Pixie that says, and I quote, "As it should be, 'cause she's a queen." Oh my God, I'm bad at that. With the map now open, we learn that Grand Admiral Thrawn is in a completely different galaxy, which makes this show the first Star Wars to bring a separate galaxy in, which I am totally against. It is supposed to be a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, and not a long time ago in a series of galaxies at various different distances. In order to get to the other galaxy, they have to have their ship hitch a ride on a space whale that can cut through the dimensions, which I'm sure is something that no show has ever done before. It's not really a spoiler if I say that they make it to the other galaxy, right? I mean, because there's no show otherwise. You might be worried that it would be very difficult to find a specific person in a completely unexplored entire galaxy, but you would be wrong. This galaxy apparently consists of about 10 square miles of prairie. It's got like a temple and a local version of Mount Rushmore and some prairie crabs, but that's about it. This galaxy is cramped. I have 2 words of advice for Sabine. Chin strap. So they find Grand Admiral Thrawn, played by Elon Musk, and Ezra Bridger, played by Jason Mantzoukas. Ezra is a pretty interesting character, despite the fact that all he's been doing all this time, apparently, is playing Space Jesus to a bunch of prairie crabs who drive around in Soviet-era Ladas and who somehow managed to make Ewoks look badass. But that's all made up for because look at this guy's hair. Look at it. Chef's kiss, right to the S tier. Oh my goodness. At last, we're really getting some boom boom going here. Overall, I liked the action scenes a lot, and there was a decent amount of cinematic brooding, not to mention a fair measure of arms smugly folded. Some of the characters show real promise, but I don't feel like we've had enough payoff, at least not yet. On the plus side, some really great hairstyles coming out of the dark side of the Force. So what's next for Star Wars? Will I ever get my show about Aayla Secura in the forests of Felucia taking a command post? Probably not. So I guess I just have to say, bye Felucia. With my luck, we'll get some kind of docudrama about the Trade Federation's attempts to influence public tax policy starring Ki-Adi-Mundi, Jedi accountant. Our final tier list, Baylan Skoll and Ezra Miller at the S class. Really amazing, just really can't be improved upon. Coming up right behind, we have Shin Hati and the Scarlet Witch, looking real good. I think the guys need to watch their backs. On top of which, we have Carson Tivo, who's, probably he's at the A level just on the basis of his tremendous good looks, more than the hair. But what can I say? We all have our biases. Anywho, that's the show. Watch it or don't. I don't get any money either way. Aayla Secura, taking a command post. Aayla Secura, taking a command post. Aayla Secura,